Now let's go to the US now, and the White House has described comments by Donald Trump about NATO as appalling and unhinged. He said he would encourage Russia to attack NATO members who don't meet their financial obligations to the Western military alliance. NATO members have agreed to spend 2% of their GDP on defense. Mr. Trump made the comments during an election campaign rally in South Carolina on Saturday. Take a listen. NATO was busted until I came along. I said everybody's going to pay. They said, well, if we don't pay, are you still going to protect us? I said absolutely not. They couldn't believe the answer. They asked me that question. One of the presidents of a big country stood up, said, well sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay, you're delinquent. He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay your bills. Well, earlier I spoke to Dr. Patrick By, a defense and security expert at the University of B and former NATO analyst. I asked him for his analysis on Mr. Trump's comments. You know, Trump is speaking to his base here, what you know we could call maybe the internet angries, and I've been engaged. I'm a veteran myself, been engaged with us veterans on this, and the level of anger amongst them. Normally when you know you've been an allied military, there's a good deal of respect and joviality. The level of anger amongst some of these US veterans about the fact that NATO is not paying its way, or many nations aren't paying its way, is quite extreme, and I think in some ways Trump is playing into his base in that he's just regurgitating what makes him angry, but so it does have an impact, and there's a real worry I think emerging in NATO about this fact. One, Russia has put its economy onto a war footing and it's increasing its capability relative to the rest of Europe. Okay, and in 3 to 5 years there is now an unlikely worse course of action, but still a course of action leading that way, where Russia would keep going after Ukraine. Yeah, especially if Trump was in the White House and there was a split within NATO about either over Ukraine and should it respond, or about how would it respond to say a small incursion, which should in theory trigger Article 5. So I think that's really where the NATO alliance is as worried as are these WH ifs. There's now an emerging path where things could get really quite serious.